Hey guys, so today I'll be creating a extreme cut crease look with the Norvina Blockbuster collection. So here I've got the ABH Norvina Volume 1 palette, which is one of my favorite eyeshadow palettes at the moment. So we've got all these gorgeous colors. I think I'm gonna create something with like sort of pinks and purples. But yeah, let's get into it. I've already done my brows and foundation. Today I'm wearing a mixture of Becca Ultimate Coverage and Tarte Amazonian Clay. I've got really oily skin, so I feel like they really work for me. But yeah, let's get into it. First I'm going to prime my lid with the ABH eye primer. I've got a mini one here that I've got to use up before I open my new full-size one that I've got, so I'm just gonna get into that. So what I like to do is pop a little bit of my product onto this little paw palette here. So if I'm doing clients, I just like to pop it on my wrist because I find it super convenient. And then that way I don't get a whole heap of like mess all over the back of my hand, especially in this time of just quarantine, just to be really super safe. I'm just gonna take this all the way up to the brow and all over the lid. And I'll pat that in with a beauty blender in a sec. Next, what I'm gonna do, I'm just taking a fluffy brush here, and I'm just gonna take a tiny bit of translucent powder just to set that. And today I'm using the Cover FX Perfect Setting Powder. Not too much, because this primer is already matte, so I don't want it to be too dry, but just to keep that crease of the lid from creasing. So next I'm just gonna take the shade B1 from the Anastasia palette. And just sort of tapping that off. And I'm sort of creating a little dip as I get towards the outside of my eye. So the shadow sort of follows the same shape as the liner I'm gonna do. I'm not worrying too much about blending yet, so I'm just packing the product on to get that really opaque color. And I'm keeping it a little bit heavier on the outside edge of my eye, just because I want it to be a bit darker. And then a little bit lighter on the inside. I've probably put a little bit too much on this side, but I'll blend it out later. And I'm just taking a clean brush. It doesn't have any product on it. It's completely clean, and I'm just going to use that in little circular motions just to buff everything out here so you get that really clean and blended line. gonna dip into shade B4. So far I've used this guy, and then I'm gonna use a little bit of this guy here. And I'm just taking that closest to the crease just to deepen it up a little bit more and add some dimension. Then I'm going to take a clean brush, and I'm just going to, same brush as I was using before this for this little bullet brush here, I'm going to dip into A5 and put that on the inner half of my eyes. And right now, really just worrying about packing that color on there because we're going to blend it all together later. So just using little tapping motion. And I'm gonna start taking that pink up a little bit higher into my brow. So now I'm sort of blending it a bit more. Before I was just sort of gently tapping the product in. Your nose contour. Don't be afraid to literally go all the way up into the brows. And now I'm gonna go back in with the brush that had my purple on it, so one pink, one purple. And I'm gonna do the same thing because we haven't blended this side yet. So I'm going back in with B1, which was the original, the lighter purple that we used. And I'm placing that just above the B, where we put the B4. Going back in with a little bit of B4 just to deepen it again. Sorry, my camera decided it wanted to shut off, so I haven't moved on to anything else yet. I was just continuously blending black and forth between the purple and the pink. But now I'm gonna go in with A1, which is this beautiful like top highlighter shade in the corner. And I'm gonna take a bit of this just to highlight under my brow bone. And I'm just taking like a flat like packing brush. And stunning. Such an icy lavender shade, I love it. It almost reminds me of the Jeffree Star Beauty Killer palette. What was that? Princess Cut, I think? And I don't go all the way to the inside of my brow. I stop about 2/3 of the way in. That's gorgeous, oh my gosh. You know what? I might even just dip in with a bit of that just to highlight the tops of my cheeks as well. And I want to do a tiny bit just to highlight my nose, so that same shade A1. And what I do with my nose highlight, a lot of people ask me, I'll just do like a little dot on the end and I wiggle it back and forth from left to right. And then I leave a little gap just above it, like I don't put any highlighter there, I leave space. And then I just draw a straight line, so then it creates that sort of like button nose effect. I'm just gonna go in with a bit of this Huda Pastel Mint, and I'm just gonna hit a little bit of this sort of like, I don't know, just like a champagne color. It's a little bit brighter white. Just do that over the top. Actually use this palette for my brows because I feel like it really matches this hair. So that's what I've been doing as of lately. Oh, I might even put a bit of this on the brow bone as well, just this middle shade here. But yeah, I sort of mix all three of these matte sort of minty like teal shades. Like I mix them all together. I use the darkest one like at the tail of my brow, and then I use the lighter shades in the middle to kind of get that like funky ombre. But I love the Huda like foil shades because they are so shimmery. They're just beautiful. There's literally no like eyeshadows like them. They're so nice. Especially vegan eyeshadows. I would say in terms of formulas, the ABH Pro Palettes, Huda Beauty, some of Jeffree Star's stuff is hit or miss, but I would definitely say in terms of shadow quality that are vegan, they're my top faves. I haven't really found anything else to compare with their mates. So, next what we're gonna do is start to work on the cut crease. Excuse me. So all of the white space that you see on the lid here, we're going to pop some, I've got a few different shades of the Louise Base. Touch of Frost, Vivid Violet, and Winter Rose. Not sure which ones I want to use yet, but I'm thinking definitely Touch of Frost. I kind of want to create like a bit of like an ombre effect too, and then we'll pop some glitters on at the end. Okay, so I'm just gonna go over this line where the highlight and the rest of the colors meet, just to diffuse that, because I find it a little bit harsh because I didn't really blend it at all. I just sort of packed the highlight on there because I find that's how you get the best sort of payoff of the shimmers with those shades. Cool. So what I like to do, any sort of moisturizing like face primer, I just pop it on a little bit of like I pop a little bit of it on a Q-tip, and I will go sort of clean up the edges so it's like super sharp and there's not any color, so it's not like mixing together. But you can use like a makeup wipe or whatever you've got around really. Okay, so for me, I always say the key to getting a really clean and crisp cut crease is all in the brush that you use. One of my personal favorites is this furless brush. Not furless, oh my gosh, this Wet n Wild brush. It literally cost a few dollars, but I haven't been able to find them anywhere. Wet n Wild isn't sold in Australia, so I had these ones shipped from overseas, but it's literally my favorite. It's just really skinny, like it tapers to a point, so you can get, the thinner that it is, I feel like you get a cleaner sort of crease with it, whether you're using concealer or like a Louise Base, like primer, something like that. Another really good one that I have found, two really similar brushes actually, are the F75 brush from Sigma. So this one, it is a bit more fluffy, but I've used this one in my kit, so I feel like I've used and abused it a little bit. And also the Morphe E10 brush. So these two are quite similar, both synthetic, vegan. Another brush I like a little bit smaller, so this one is Sigma F70 brush. I feel like it has less bristles, so it is definitely a bit more pointed. And if you're looking at like luxury brushes, Makeup Forever, definitely like a higher sort of price point. They are 100% synthetic bristles. I believe they even have their own farm for, oh my gosh, they grow their own trees, so it's like natural, organic. I believe birchwood. I could be wrong, correct me if I am. But yeah, they're quite high quality brushes. But I would say these are even thinner than the Wet n Wild brush, but these are about 40 bucks a piece, and the Wet n Wild one is like less than 5, so yeah. They're quite thin though, they're absolutely amazing. But here I've got the 226 brush, and the smaller one is 174 brush. Makeup Forever doesn't test on animals, but I do believe they're sold in China, so wouldn't exactly consider them to be cruelty-free. Just letting you know that. I've got these brushes from work, so that's why I've got them. But yeah, I think I'm gonna start with the blue shade. Was it Touch of Frost? So I'm just gonna pop this onto my little tall palette. I feel like that's gonna be the first color I wanna go in with the inner corner here. So I'm gonna use the bigger brush from Makeup Forever, which was the 226. Just go on my little palette here. I like to load it up on each side so it really gets like squished together. The skinnier you can get the brush, the better. And as you can tell, I've got hooded eyes, so what I do, I actually draw my crease above where my natural crease sits. And honestly, it's never the same place twice. I always make it a little bit different every day. Some people like to use the hack where they'll put concealer, their primer on their lid, and they'll look up, and then where it makes a little line, we like to map it out that way. But honestly, I haven't had any luck with that method, but I definitely know it works for a lot of people. So I just like to draw it out by hand. Probably takes a bit more time though. Haven't decided yet. I think I'm actually going to use Winter Rose, so the pink color. I'll pop a little bit of this one onto my palette next, and put it just underneath where I've done that dark purple. And I'm gonna clean off my brush and just sort of blend the blue and pink together. Just tapping it lightly, kind of dragging the blue shade over into the pink. But I don't want to mix it too much because I don't want it to turn purple. I want it to be very subtle. But I'm just gonna finish up the other eye off camera because my camera battery is running a little bit low. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Now I'm going to take some of the Vivid Violet, and I'm going to do that on the outside, sort of creating like a wing with it. So I'm going to take the smaller Makeup Forever brush, so I have more sort of like precision and control over it. Okay, here we go. Actually, I lied. So I'm just loading up each side of my brush, just trying to really press it and get it as skinny as I possibly can. Absolutely divine. Oh my god. I love it so much. I think I'm gonna go back in with a little bit more pink. I don't know, does it need more pink? There we go. And just blend the purple a bit more into the pink. A hack that I do sometimes as well, if I'm being a bit lazy, I'll just take like my favorite like a glitter liner, like for example this one I've got from Urban Decay. It's really pretty pink. It's called Grind, but I will just put this on the line that sort of goes like where the cut crease is, because that's a cheat because it covers up if I'm a bit sloppy. So I feel like that's a great tool for beginners too, because you still have that really extra like glam eye. But if you're just a bit like self-conscious that your line's not as sharp or something, you can always throw a little glitter on it. Glitter helps everything. Okay, so I'm just clean off my brush, and I'm gonna do the same thing how I blended the blue over into the pink. I'm gonna do the same thing where I drag a bit of that pink into the purple, but still just tapping, not like swirling it around and getting it to where all the product moves and shifts and looks like shit. And just gonna touch up a little bit more pink, just a little. Just dragging it in more towards the center. Gonna cover up a little bit of the blue, but that's okay. Can you see how much that it sort of like lifts my eye? Like just when you draw the crease that much higher. And honestly, you can go as high as you want. Like a lot of drag queens, doesn't really have to be a drag queen. I mean, a lot of people, I shave my brows as well, but when you shave your brows, you can draw your brows higher, or like as high as you want them, and then that means you have more space on the lid of your eye too, to have more fun with eyeshadows. Yeah, I think that looks a lot better that I've added more pink, but I'm just a pink person. What do you guys think? So I'm going to use shimmery eyeshadows to set the P. Louise before I go in with the glitter on top. Maybe, you know what, I'm even gonna take a teeny tiny bit of translucent powder just because I've got really oily eyelids and that really helps keep it in place. So I'll do that first. Just blend, make sure these guys are blended. But yeah, just did that final blend just to make sure there's no crease in the shadow, or if you set it with a crease in the shadow, then you're gonna have a crease in your shadow. So you want to make sure that's blended before you go in with the translucent powder, so it's just the same Cover FX one. And I'm hardly even touching, I am just dabbing it on so slightly. Like the tiniest bit, like I'm barely even touching my lid. Okay. That's such a stunning gradient, oh my god. I love ombre, especially pastel, I love everything pastel. So, I'm gonna go back into the Huda Beauty Mint palette. Just looking for a flat sort of brush. I'm using this furthest one. PM2. And I'm gonna use this sort of like teal shimmery shade, and I'm gonna go over the blue part of the cut crease. Just tap in that. Oh my gosh, it's stunning. I'm so excited. I know I said that in the most like apathetic voice ever, but just because I'm really focused. The reason I put a sort of metallic like pigment over top of the cut crease is just in case like the glitter moves throughout the day, like a bit falls off or something like that. I just like to make sure that there's something underneath to sort of give like a bit of shimmer, so I feel like it looks better. So even if I'm doing like a 10-hour shift at work or something, it still holds up. Like obviously it doesn't look the best as it did when I first got there, but at the end of the day it still looks pretty damn good. And then I'll take this really sort of champagne color that I used to highlight before. Take a little bit of this guy. It almost has like a mint, even though it's like a white almost champagne, it has like mint glitter through it. So it's pretty cool. Do I need more on my nose? Heck yeah. I love this so much. Oh my gosh. So this probably isn't necessary just because we're gonna put some glitter all over it anyway. Okay, so my camera just shut off again. So all I did was go back and forth between these top two like pink shades in the Huda palette, and I just sort of tapped a tiny bit onto the pink just to make it a bit lighter. Then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take this A1 sort of like light lavender shade up here, and I'm gonna put this over top of this last sort of like purple that we've done. That's stunning. Oh my god. And you don't have to go too far down, because when you put your liner over top, if the liner goes over top of like a glitter, sometimes it can look a little bit chunky. So sometimes I just shortcut and don't even put eyeshadow there when I know the liner is gonna go over the top and cover it anyways, because then my eyeliner is gonna turn out smoother, but at the same time I'm saving time and not wasting as much product either. And what you can do, you can go in with a really fine liner brush. This one here actually used to do my eyebrows as well. But I'm just gonna go back in with the darker pink and the darker purple just to really sharpen the line to the cut crease in any places that needs it. So dipping back into that A4 color, which was the, B4 color, which was the purple, and then the A5, which was the pink. Just to really make the line nice and crispy. And what I'm doing, I'm loading up this brush on both sides, like I'm just like packing it to get it really thin on there. And then like I barely even touch it, like I just go over the line. You know what? I'm gonna whip out the Norvina Tooth palette. I reckon maybe either of these two would look nice. Maybe I'll start with the B2 and see how we go. A20 short shader brush. Dipping it into the color B2. And smudging that along the lash line. Really nice like purple blue, like purple toned blue. I might go in with the C2 just to brighten it up a little bit. Oh, where do I go though? Do I go maybe more in the like the inner corner with this one? Yeah, I like that. And then maybe make it a bit more purple on the outside to blend in with that purple. so I'm going to focus this B2 more on the outside. I took a little bit of this matte blue and mixed it with the shimmer blue from the Huda Mint palette. I used this little like shader brush and I just went like back and forth like under my lash line just to make it blend with the top half of the blue a bit more. And then it has that similar sort of like turquoise shade as my eyebrows. But I've got 3 shades here from the Norvina Blockbuster palette to blue, Kitt Palm, Carnival, and Frosted, which is almost like a white iridescent glitter with a lavender shift to it. But I'm actually going to try out the Anastasia Beverly Hills glitter glue because I haven't tried it before. Normally the one I use is from Lit Cosmetics. It's almost like a glitter consistency. It's almost like an oil consistency. It's really thin, but when it dries it's really sticky. Okay, so I've got my little mini size of the Anastasia glitter adhesive. How many mils does this have? 6.5 mils. So I'm going to brush a little bit of this onto my clean palette. I don't like to directly use the brush on my eye just because I find that really unsanitary, but coming from like a makeup artist point of view, I would never do that with products that I'm using also on my clients. But honestly, if you're doing makeup on yourself and only yourself, I guess it's fine. But at the same time, I feel like your products are gonna last a lot longer if like bacteria and stuff isn't going in there, because that's what's going to make them go off. But I'm just going back in with my Morphe brush, the 226 brush, and I'm going to pick up a little bit of this glitter glue. I haven't used this stuff before, so hopefully it's good. And I'm gonna tap a little bit on each side of my brush and then work quickly tapping that. First I will start on the blue. And popping a little bit of my blue glitter onto my palette. Now I've switched back to my F70 Sigma brush. I'm just gonna lightly, oh god, that's beautiful, but just lightly tapping that off. Sickening. Oh my gosh, I love. Amazing. It seems to be sticking pretty well. Honestly. So now I'm just gonna go in with a bit of a quick setting spray just to sort of minimize any like glitter fallout and like set it in place. I'm just using the KVD Rocket, good old trusty. And then I'm gonna actually go in with a touch more of blush. So this shade is from I Heart Revolution Peach and Glow. Like, isn't their packaging just divine? It's really affordable too. I think this costs me like less than 10 bucks. Just this beautiful sort of like shimmery peachy highlight, and then a bit of blush as well. And I just sort of like to go in like a C shape just around my brow. And I'm gonna dip into more of this peach shade just to keep it more in the center of my cheeks. So now I'm going to apply my mascara. At the moment I've really been loving the Tarte Vigino mascara just because the brush is nice and fluffy. It's a vegan mascara. Normally I'll use it afterwards to coat my lashes as well. I have been using a different one with a smaller brush just to get my bottom lashes. So this one is the Tarte Surfer Curl, which I also love. And like, look. It's like we're meant to be. We're matching. Maybe can even use that as like a thumbnail photo. Who knows? Anyways, I'm just gonna pop on some mascara before I do my liner. I'm gonna go in for my liner. And how we mapped out with the purple under our eyes, I'm gonna try not to come down too much onto that dark purple, but kind of using it just as a guide for the liner. I find for beginners the KVD tattoo liner is really easy to use because it's a brush tip. So if you make a mistake, it doesn't come out as dark of a black, so you can just smudge it away really quick and fix it up. With a liquid liner like this ABH one, it does take a bit of time to dry. The tattoo liner dries pretty quick, which is why I like it. Sometimes even if I'll just start with like a gel liner, like one of my personal favorites. I've gone through probably 5 bottles of this stuff, the Tartist clay paint liner. So I'll map it out with a brush, but I want to see today how I go using the Anastasia one on its own, and if I need to go in with tattoo liner when I flub it up, then that's what we can do. So I would say I've actually previously used the ABH liner before I got it in the Blockbuster set. That's why kind of one of the things that motivated me to get the set, because I really wanted the eye primer and the liner because they're actually my favorite. In terms of like my fave 2 liquid eyeliners, here I've got as well the Marc Jacobs highliner in Blackour. And then the ABH one. Honestly, I'll show you the wands, they're quite similar. The ABH one is a tiny bit longer. Like the handle is shorter for ABH, but the actual tip is a bit longer. But they're both waterproof, really like smudge proof. They're really long lasting too. And coming from someone who's got really oily eyelids, tested and true. These have stayed on. I've been at work for like 10 hours or so. Come home, it's about 12 hours, and they literally do not move. Yeah, here we go. I'm just gonna sort of start drawing. I don't really have any sort of particular trick or style. I'm not the greatest at eyeliner. I just sort of go with the flow. If I mess it up, then the shape changes into something different. That's the whole art of it, I think. But I'm gonna hold my breath. Not bad, hey. I'm a bit like suspicious. I'm a bit suspicious of if I'm feeling ballsy enough to try to do the inner corner with this, or if I should just go to tattoo liner, like what's easy. Cause like I didn't F it up too bad. I'm surprised because I thought I was gonna have to go in with a different liner and fix it up, but like that turned out pretty good. And I always do my little beauty spot here, which I naturally have, but because I've been using such great skincare, my little mole has faded, so I just draw it back on. But yeah, maybe I'll try doing the inner corner. That's pretty good, hey? Not mad at it. Not bad at all. So I'm gonna go ahead and stick on some lashes real quick. So these are the I Heart Silk Fiber Effects. They're not really silk, they're not mink. They're synthetic lashes from Allure. But I'm gonna pop these little guys on and here we go. Great thing if you use the little lash glue that comes in these packs. They're latex free as well, so it's actually a vegan lash glue. I've never tried it. I always use the black one, latex free from Tarte, and I've recently bought the Huda Beauty latex free glue that I've been wanting to try. Holy crap, I love this so much. Pretty good for not even having like a plan. I just sort of went in blind. I was like, hey, I'm gonna use some colors in this palette. Really want to try the glitters, and like, bam. Feeling myself. What do you guys think? I might take a few Insta photos and insert them here. Next I'm going to pop on a lip, and then I'm going to film a video if you're interested in my full review of the Norvina Blockbuster collection. Before, I just had a bit of the Too Faced lip injections on, so I like to put that on after I do my foundation, and it sort of like cooks while I'm doing all my eye makeup and stuff. So I'm actually going to use an ABH lipstick today. This one is called Insomniac. Matches my eyebrows, hey! Absolutely love this color. And I'm gonna do a touch of gloss over top. So this one here is just like a nudie color. It really looks beautiful no matter what gloss that you put it over. But I'm not going to dip directly into the tube, otherwise my whole lip gloss is going to be blue forever. This one is called Flat White from Bite Beauty. It's a beautiful color. I'm just going to pop a bit of this onto a little palette here. And then this one goes like this. What do you guys think of the finished look? Let me know in the comments down below, and if there's any other colors that you'd like to see in the Norvina palette or any other looks you have in mind, let me know. I'm happy to try them out and show you guys my creation. But thanks so much for watching. I'll see you again soon. Please subscribe.